and you knew the rules better than they thought they knew the rules. But, that didn't stop them. They've learned how to bend rules, break rules, and now they want to rewrite the rules. But then again, maybe they've been paying attention to what's been going on in Washington. They've been bending the rules and breaking the rules and rewriting the rules for too long. That's what we have to stop from happening. The people at the convention were worried just how much trouble we would cause, and you generally have known what my advice is. Just stopping something for the sake of stopping doesn't achieve a whole lot, so I've been a little bit cautious. But what they have found out is they've overstepped the bound. There's a big fight going on, and we're involved in it, but everybody else, a bunch of them are joining us and saying, you've gone too far. The Ron Paul people were right about overstepping their bound. It's just been great, the experience I've had these last 5 years, and it's been a very important time, not only for me personally, but I think for the attention that we're getting. Now, I have received a lot of compliments about it and given some credit about it, but I tell you what, it takes you, it takes a lot of other people. There's been a lot of things going on for decades, and it's coming about. It's coming about. Not so much, not only because I believe we're right on the issues, but what is coming out right now is proof positive that their philosophy of government, whether it's foreign policy, monetary policy, or economic policy, is failing, and they need something different. I have often quoted, Victor Hugo about Samuel Adams about an irate tireless minority, and bringing about changes in that way. But ultimately, that minority is irate and tireless, and they light the fires of liberty in the minds of men. Yes, that's important, but ultimately, numbers do count. And even numbers do count when they don't count all the votes as well, because we do have the numbers. But those who promote ideas ultimately have to have an influence on the prevailing attitudes of the people. And that is what's happening today. The people now are waking up, and they're realizing the failure of what we have and the reason that these ideas are coming about. Now, in this primary, we had close to 2 million votes. They say, oh, yeah, there's 2 million votes. That doesn't swing an election, it's no big deal. But guess what? For every vote that we got in the primary, let me tell you, just from my personal experience of traveling around the country and meeting people at airports and wherever, the support out there is much, much greater, and they don't feel comfortable coming to a Republican primary. So the support there, I would say, be 2 or 3 times as much as the number of votes we got in the primary. We have talked a lot about the excitement that the young people bring, the excitement we've had on the campuses. I asked somebody on the staff after the last campaign event on a college campus, I said, how many campuses did I go to? And let me tell you, if they had told me I was going to go to this number of campuses during the campaign, I probably would have said, there's no way you could do that. We went to 33 college campuses. Talked to Talked to close to 150,000 young people, enthusiastic. Were they the conservative college campuses, or were they the liberal college campuses? No, they were all the college campuses. They welcomed us. Now, when you think, if there's a party that says, oh, we have an open tent, we want new people to come in, we want to appeal to the young people, don't you think they would be begging and pleading that they come into the big tent? Well, we'll get into the tent, believe me, because we will become the tent eventually. Once they know we are the future, they will know about this. But the young people certainly have the enthusiasm. And I think it's the enthusiasm that really energizes a campaign. It energizes not only themselves and the college campuses, and I've always maintained there will not be a true revolution unless the college campuses are alive and well with those ideas. But there has been so many times that the young people, not only those of voting age, but sometimes 13 and 14 and 15, they bring their parents to the office and have them converted into believing and understanding about what liberty is all about. Young people energize a lot of other people and give the energy to the remnant who are with us already. So this to me is exciting with the energy that we have. It seems to me that they would be begging and pleading for us to come into the party. You know, most people in this room probably have read that book called 1984. It was a required reading in high school for so many years. And, I figured it out. I can explain to you where the problem is. 1984 has been read by lot. I would assume everybody in this room read it as a dire warning of what could happen to a society if you're not careful. I think a bunch of people read the book and thought it was a business plan, and they ran for Congress. Because so many claim they read it, and they claim that they understand this, and yet they do the very things that we have been fighting against and trying to stop. During the campaign, I got a lot of advice. Can you believe that? A lot of advice. Sometimes from strangers, sometimes from our enemies, sometimes from my family as well. But no, the advice that came up from the very well-meaning individuals who were in the category of maybe mainstream Republican. And they would come up and say, Ron, we really like you. We like what you're doing, and we like what you're saying. But if you would only do one thing, if you would change one thing, boy, you would really have a lot more success. You need to change your foreign policy. And of course, if I didn't have the policy that I do have, I don't believe we would be here tonight. And this is something they obviously do not understand. Those who do understand it fear it because of the powerful special interest behind a foreign policy of intervention in the military-industrial complex. So it's complex, but they strongly resent this. But it was mentioned already today. I have mentioned it before, but I think it's the best test of my support coming from, more so than anybody else, from the military for our foreign policy. The subject of monetary policy, of course, comes up frequently in Washington on our committee, but off and on over quite a few years. And the question has always been, what are we going to do with the penny? You know, they want to change it to steel, but they can't even afford the steel. If you have a steel penny instead, we're off the gold, off the silver, we're off the copper standard, now we're on the zinc standard, we can't even afford a zinc penny, so that now they want to make them out of steel, but the steel, by the time you pay for labor, it costs more than a penny to make a steel penny. So there was an article, a headline came out the other day, it said, can we save the penny? And I got to thinking, well, they don't understand monetary policy or they wouldn't be talking that way. The bigger question that we will be forced to face is, can we save the dollar? There was a bill passed not too long ago, and as you could guess, I voted against it, and that's that Dodd-Frank bill. Did you ever hear of that monster? In that bill, they gave more power to the Federal Reserve. They created a board, a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, protect all the consumers. So they were given a task here a couple of months ago, and it was designed to make things more efficient. That's why this story will tell you why efficiency is not the answer to our problems. We don't want more efficient government. We want to get the government out of the business that they're not supposed to be doing. But this new Consumer Financial Protection Board was given the task of simplifying the applications for a mortgage loan because it's complex. And now they're more complex because they had a bubble and they don't know where the bubble came from because it was probably because they didn't fill out enough forms. So they said, what we need to do is simplify these forms. So they went to work, and indeed, they came up with the solution. They provided the solution. It was 1,000 pages long on how to reduce 2 forms to 1 form. All these new regulations placed on everybody who applies for a bill, and they think that will be the solution. But that isn't the solution. The solution is get the government out of our lives and off our back and out of our wallets. Now, if we are serious, and when we have the clout, what we do is we don't tinker around with 1,000 pages to simplify things. What we do is we repeal Dodd-Frank is what we do. And there was another time the Republicans, when they were in charge, they passed the Sarbanes-Oxley. It's cost businessmen $1 trillion. You know, it's just been great, the experience I've had these last 5 years, and it's been a very important time, not only for me personally, but I think for the attention that we're getting. Now, I have received a lot of compliments about it and given some credit about it, but I tell you what, it takes you, it takes a lot of other people. There's been a lot of things going on for decades, and it's coming about. It's coming about. Not so much, not only because I believe we're right on the issues, but what is coming, something for the sake of stopping doesn't achieve a whole lot. So I've been a little bit cautious. But what they have found out is they've overstepped the bound. There's a big fight going on, and we're involved in it, but everybody else, a bunch of them are joining us and say, you've gone too far. The Ron Paul people were right about overstepping their bound. And you knew the rules better than they thought they knew the rules. But, you know, that didn't stop them. They've learned how to bend rules, break rules, and now they want to rewrite the rules. But then again, maybe they've been paying attention to what's been going on in Washington. They've been bending the rules and breaking the rules and rewriting the rules for too long. That's what we have to stop from happening. You know, the people at the convention were worried just how much trouble we would cause, and you generally have known what my advice is: just stop